Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Zuck Family Letters, 1952 to 1955. This was originally published as Zuck Family Memories Collection, or ZFMC, number 57, on September 11th, 2001. These were letters written to my parents, John and Ruth Ray, from Frank and Lena Zuck, my father's mother's parents, from Gertrude and Doran Ray, my father's parents, from Mary Freilich, my father's mother's sister, and Nell and Chella Ray, my father's sisters. And the letters were primarily written from Marion, Ohio, and Sandusky, Ohio, to Bay Village, Ohio. 1407. Excuse me. Now, before we start, I have an essay that I wrote that I went into this ZFMC as like a prologue or prelude or something, or a letter before that I came out. This is right after September 11th, and you can take it with a grain of salt. Quote, "Let's all move back to Marion, Ohio," by Peter J. Ray. Our family has roots in Marion, Ohio, which are 200 years deep. Back in the 1930s, my dad, John S. Ray, grew up in an ideal environment. He had a very happy childhood, growing up in a small town with many, many relatives living in the same neighborhood. With the passage of time, family members left Marion, Ohio, looking for bigger and better things in all parts of the United States and in some foreign countries. As a group, our family has done quite well in our achievements and successes, and Grandma and Grandpa Zuck were so proud of their children and grandchildren, and I believe they still are so proud. There was nothing wrong with leaving Marion. There was a big world to explore and conquer, and we have done that. However, in leaving and scattering to the four winds, we lost something valuable. We lost each other. We lost the sense of an extended family to help in raising children and in taking care of old folks. We lost a sense of community. We lost the joys of simple living and good, clean, outdoor fun in a small town. The time has come for us to move back to Marion, Ohio. If you sell your home today, you will get a great price. Real estate prices in Marion are unbelievably low. 373 Windsor Street, the house where Frank and Lena Zuck raised their children, John, Mary, Gertrude, Helen, Fred, Ted, Lenore, Rachel, and Tommy, was sold about 10 years ago for $12,000. With our family's financial resources, we could easily buy all of the houses that were formerly owned by our family, the Hecker compound, and the rest. In addition, we could buy many more houses, which could be rented out and provide income. We could buy farms outside of Marion. My dad has kept the Lakeside, Ohio family reunions going for the past 25 years. Those reunions have helped us to keep a sense of family, which we otherwise would have lost. Lakeside was the best part of my growing up, but it was too long anticipated and too soon over. Of course, many relatives stopped coming to Lakeside, Ohio, and the family reunions there. Personality clashes have been one reason. Another problem, perhaps, has been the challenge of putting many people in one house. Everyone likes their own territory where they live. The issue of territory kept people from coming to Lakeside. We are a great family. Avoiding each other does not solve the complex problem of human relationships. If we all moved back to Marion, each couple would have their own house with a large lawn. Therefore, the territorial challenge would be resolved. We could be near each other, but not trying to live in the same house. Let's look to the future. We're all getting older. How do we want our final years to be? Do we want to live in a nursing home with strangers taking care of us? Do we want to live in Florida in a retirement community with a bunch of old strangers? I have a vision for our family in our old age. In Marion, Ohio, with many family members living in the Windsor Street neighborhood, the burden of taking care of our elders will be shared. Grandparents and grandchildren will be able to see each other every day. We can work on our relationships with each other. Let us reclaim our lost ancestral lands and get back something precious which we have lost. Grandma and Grandpa Zuck would be so proud. May our family unite again and be strong and happy. Okay, the first letter is from Doran Ray, my father's father. Quote, 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio. March 13th, 1951. Dear Ruth and John, here we thought spring was almost here, and tonight it is almost freezing, and a wet snow with high winds thrown in for good measure. At least it is a lot better than they are having out in Iowa and Minnesota. Dick is taking exams this week, finishing up the winter quarter, and plans to get home sometime Friday for a few days. The spring quarter starts March 26th, I think it is. You mentioned about car expense, John, when we were over to Cleveland. Last week I had 2 flat tires within a period of 12 hours. So Monday I bought myself 2 new tires, over 52,000 miles on the Plymouth now. We made another purchase on Monday too, a washing machine. Mother has been needing a new one for quite some time. Finally decided on a Speed Queen at $139. Mother used it Monday and likes it fine. Don't let those comprehensive exams in law school get you down, John. Just take them in stride, one at a time. Love, Dad. P.S. Hey, John, you were really in the upper crust in the real evidence class. The next book is from Mary Freilich, my mother's sister. 387 Blaine Avenue, Marion, Ohio, October 20th, 1952. Dear Ruth and John, Harold, Marge, and youngsters were here for supper last night, and we were speaking of you folks. Marge mentioned the lovely luncheon she had at your house, and spoke of all the pretty things you have ready for the baby. She's referring to Mark Ray, who's about to be born, the first child of my parents and my older brother. Barbara and I both want you to know we are thinking of what to get for the baby. Let us know your wishes. I think your baby will be a very fortunate one to have 2 such fine people for parents. I'm calling the store this morning to have a little gift sent to you and hope it will reach you promptly. I should like to have chosen something myself, but have been a bit under the weather, so will not go uptown. Barbara doesn't get home in time to shop after school. Things in Marion proceed as usual. The Wanners and Aunt Sue are preparing to leave for Florida soon, although Will isn't too well. The Florida sunshine may help his arthritis. I hope so. Michael Freilich is getting so cute. He certainly has his share of curiosity. He stands on his tiptoe and investigates everything down to the last button in our sewing machine. Debbie and Terry are enthused about kindergarten and school. We do enjoy the grandchildren. Goodbye now. Lovingly, Aunt Mary Freilich. And the next letter, again, is from Doran Ray, my father's father. November 30th, 1952, 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio. Dear Ruth and John, Mother just talked to Ruth on Friday night, but I want to thank you for the cigar, John. It came through in fine shape. I'm saving it for a special occasion, for I don't smoke cigars very often anymore. Thanks, too, for the birth announcement. That's referring to Mark Ray. That will be one of our prized possessions. I guess the golf season is finally over. We haven't had any snow here, but it has been below freezing for a number of days now. I listened to the Cleveland Browns game this afternoon, and Paul Brown surely did a good job of getting his team fired up. I'd guess they would play in the championship game now. Editor's note, with an 8-4 record, the 1952 Cleveland Browns were American Conference champions. However, in the NFL championship game played at Cleveland Municipal Stadium, the Detroit Lions prevailed against the Browns 17-7. Public Square in Cleveland must be quite a sight now at night. We definitely will have to get over and see it sometime during the holidays. We appreciated your last letter so much, Ruth. You have the knack of telling us just what we want to know. Love, Dad. And the next letter is from Gertrude Zuck Ray, my father's mother. Quote, 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, January 8th, 1953. Dear John and Ruth, we got our prints today, so are sending the negatives. They finished ours lighter than the ones we sent you, and I don't like them quite as well, but they are still priceless. Carol has come down with a cold, started feeling sniffly yesterday. She had an afternoon off today, so should feel better tomorrow. Tomorrow is Mark's 2-month birthday. Suppose you'll almost feel like having a cake to celebrate. Our book review was called off at church today because of the weather. Hasn't it been lousy? Good weather to stay home. Love, Mother. And the next letter is again from Gertrude Ray to my parents, my father's mother. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, February 1st, 1953. Dear John, Ruth, and Mark, Carol was just bidding Dave goodbye on the porch when we drove in last night. We had to put her up to date on Mark and his latest achievements. She is getting anxious to see him again. She is feeling much better today, so evidently this bug isn't going to get her down. We did enjoy yesterday afternoon and evening so much. Doran said on the way home, "Mark certainly is a cute baby, if I do have to say so myself." Of course, he wasn't telling me anything. He looked so inquisitive and bright-eyed when we walked in. I could hardly believe he was tailor-tot size already. What a relief to have a car that gets you there like the new Plymouth. We are enjoying it a lot. I hope John's cold is gone now. There is a lot of flu here. We still have 6 pictures to take on this roll of film, but as soon as they are used, we'll send on the ones we took yesterday. Thanks again for the nice visit. Love, Mother. Now the next letter is from Frank and Lena Zuck in my father's mother's parents. 373 Windsor Street, Marion, Ohio, Wednesday, February 4th, 1953. Dear John and Ruth, we were so happy to get the baby's pictures. He surely is a wonderful-looking baby. It was so nice of you to send the pictures, as we were so anxious to see him. John's mother told us she thought you were going to bring the baby to Sandusky over the time of the wedding. We hope you can. Then we would get to see him. That's Mark Ray. Maybe when the weather gets warmer, you can come to Marion for that long-looked-for weekend you can spend with us. This is a beautiful spring morning, and it looks like spring is not too far away. We hope this will find you all real well, and thanks again for the lovely pictures. With love to you all, Grandpa and Grandma Zuck. The next letter is from Doran Ray, my father's father. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, February 24th, 1953. Dear John, Ruth, and Mark, just to let you know we got your letter today telling about Mark's christening this coming Sunday at 3 o'clock. We will be at the church a little before 3 and we'll meet you there. Carol will be along, but she hasn't had a chance to ask Dave yet, so can't say definitely about him. From the way Mark has been acting, we think he is going to have a tooth very shortly. Think I'll bring the camera along Sunday and take some more pictures, since this will be an occasion that will want to be remembered by all members of the family. Love, Dad. The next letter is from Gertrude Ray, my father's mother. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, March 2nd, 1953. Dear John, Ruth, and Mark, another important occasion for Mark's baby book, and one we all enjoyed. I think Mark had a good time too, and we were wondering at the dinner table if he decided to prolong his party into the night. He looked so sweet waving at the window as we drove away. Helen called this afternoon and said that Cynthia and Pete had found a house at the Air Force Base at Hamilton, California. Has 2 bedrooms, so must be a fair-sized place. She hopes Pete can stay on there for the rest of his service. They, Fred and Helen, are still not entirely cleaned up from the coal dust. Even the curtains have to be vacuumed. She has quite a case on Mark. Think he looks more like you, Ruth, than the first time they saw him. They take off for Florida this Wednesday. Did we tell you we are to have a new complete shopping center near here on Cleveland Road? We are hoping they use the red brick and white trim buildings you have in your shopping center and church. Thanks again for the happy time and good food yesterday. Love, Mother. Now the next letter is from Gertrude Ray. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, Monday, March 16th, 1953. Dear John, Ruth, and Mark, we are looking forward to a big time this coming weekend. Hope the weather is nice so we can get out of doors some. Carol wants to know if she can take Mark over to Dave's house to show him off. She is really the proud auntie. We won't plan supper before 6 Saturday, so we'll be glad to see you anytime in the afternoon. Doran has our plane reservations confirmed and rooms at San Francisco reserved at our stopover there on the way back. We are anticipating all this so much, and it is coming close every day. We have been doing some intensive studying of the California map. It will be a big help to have Tommy's car. He suggested we use it, for he will be teaching 1 week while we are there. Oh yes, we want to finish the roll of film this weekend that we started when Mark was baptized. We should get the pictures back to you before we go. Have been wondering how long it will be before Mark recognizes us from the previous visit. I hope he's adaptable to changing beds, so you'll feel free to bring him often. Carol had a letter from Jeannie. She likes California and says Debbie is growing fine out there. Rocks herself clear across the room in her teeter babe. She said, too, that Mrs. Lippus had enjoyed seeing Mark so much. Till Saturday, love, Mother. And the next letter is from, this is from Gertrude Ray, my father's mother. They're in California on a trip. Dear John, Ruth, and Mark, Friday, April 10th, 1953. The trip to Sequoia lived right up to expectations, only more so. The giant red trees against the backdrop of the many kinds of other evergreens up there, many of them with bright green moss-covered trunks. Can you visualize that? Then the cottages and main lodge, all rustic, made it a page right out of Hansel and Gretel. There was deep snow in some places, and little waterfalls and redbud and mountain lilacs. Here in California were blooming on the lower slopes. I had no idea the Sierras were so high. The mountains here are a continual surprise for you see them on every side except the ocean, and they rise up and up, with snow-clad slopes at the top. Carol and Johnny climbed steps up to the top of Maury Rock, one of the highest points of Sequoia. Helen got a shot from below with just their tiny heads peering over the guardrail at the top. Saturday night, Duke Ellington was over at Balboa Beach near here. A lot of college kids from the surrounding area spent Easter weekend over there, and there was some wild gymnastics on the dance floor. Tom, Marge, and Carol danced some, but couldn't keep up with that tempo. Easter Sunday was cool and cloudy, so we stayed home, rested, and had a wonderful dinner. Monday we drove to Long Beach, found Aunts Nell and Chell, and after a short visit drove on to Laguna Beach, a resort of lovely little houses clinging to the hillsides that sweep down to the ocean. Fascinating little shops and a profusion of flowers spilling over walls and terraces. It's an artist's colony, as you probably know, and the evidence is everywhere. From there we went on to Dana Point, where Tom and Marge lived right after they were married. Then on to San Clemente to see the ranch house Tom built. On the way home we visited the mission at Capistrano, took many colored pictures of the white pigeons perching on our heads, shoulders, and arms. What courage and endurance the Catholic fathers had. They used to go up the coast as far as San Francisco twice a year, ministering to the Indians. A whole culture and civilization has been here, which we in the East aren't too much aware of, and developed through tremendous hard work. Tuesday we shopped at Santa Ana, visited Tom's school, and had a picnic in a lovely park right at the end of this street. Then we went over to Long Beach again Wednesday to see the folks, had dinner downtown, and went out to the mausoleum where grandfather and grandmother Ray's crypts are. In the evening, the whole gang except Annette went to Knott's Berry Farm, had a wonderful chicken dinner, and went through Ghost Town, a replica of the Old West, had some silly pictures taken, and home. Yesterday, Thursday, was a wonderful day spent in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, and Forest Lawn Cemetery in Glendale. Mother and Dad thought Forest Lawn was so impressive, and after being there, we are surely glad we didn't miss it. We all got a thrill out of the movie stars' homes in Beverly Hills, with such money and luxury out there. These mountains are fortune makers. I suppose you could stay here a month and go to a new and different place every day if your pep and pocketbook hold out. We think California is certainly not over-advertised, as John used to think in Florida. Oh yes, did I tell you of the beautiful blue of the Pacific Ocean, and it's always in motion at the shoreline? Then the wide white beaches. Whales have been running lately, but we haven't been able to glimpse any yet. We'll just have to save the rest till we get home next Wednesday. Our love, Mother. This was postmarked in Santa Ana, California. And the next letter is from Gertrude Ray, my father's mother. Quote, 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, Tuesday, October 27th, 1953. Dear John, Ruth, and Mark, Carol found this little cap in the pocket of her jeans. Isn't it the one you were looking for from Mark's buggy? We did love having him. It seems he has advanced so much these past few weeks. In fact, we didn't quite keep up with him. We have ordered the crib, and it should be here the next time you come. They have the nylon quilted snowsuits in several stores here, so if you don't find one in Cleveland, we would like to get one for his first birthday. He'll probably be walking by that time. Marjorie is home now, making plans for her wedding the 22nd of December. She seems fine and is happier than she has been in a long time. Being divided between her mother in Columbus and her aunt and uncle here has been a strain, and perhaps the security of a home and husband will be just what she needs. Carol had a wisdom tooth pulled Saturday and plans to have some fillings put in this coming Friday. The dentist tells her that the occlusion is off again, and she is to see Dr. Beatty in Cleveland soon. Swears she won't wear braces again. We're hoping a retainer at night will do the trick, along with pulling this wisdom tooth. How is the attic coming? It will be fine to have it done before winter sets in. The Freilichs, Mary and Frank, have been doing some extensive work in their house, too. Should look nice. It's raining this morning. What a blessing. I want to get the rest of the bulbs in. Carol wants to know if Mark wants an electric train for his birthday. A few more years to go before he can handle that. Love, Mother. And the next letter is from Frank and Lena Zuck, my father's mother's parents. 373 Windsor Street, Marion, Ohio, Thursday, January 7th, 1954. Dear John, Ruth, and Mark, we are surely glad you are back home safely. We can just imagine how glad your parents were, Ruth, to see all of you. We do want to thank you for the candied fruit. It's always so nice to have at Christmas time. We did not have the Santa Claus party this year, and we missed it very much. John, your dad and mother, and Carol spent last Sunday with us, and we don't know when we have had a more pleasant time together, and we did enjoy it so much. How we wish you folks could come and spend the weekend with us. We did appreciate the Christmas card so much. Mark was so cute on it. Grandma says it will be so nice for her book. We have real winter here this morning with the ground all covered with snow and quite cold. Wishing all of you a very happy and prosperous New Year with lots of love to you and a big hug for Mark, Grandpa, and Grandma Zuck. The next letter is from Gertrude Zuck Ray, my father's mother. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, January 25th, 1954. Dear John, Ruth, and Mark, sounds like the past week has been a red-letter one in your household. Congratulations to you all. Ruth for being such a good teacher, Mark a good learner, and John a good lawyer. Carol and Doran send their congratulations too. Suppose you took some pictures of Mark walking. He's getting a new and fascinating perspective now, and will just have lots of new things to name. He was good company when we had him here this last time, and will be better than ever now. Maybe our answers will be more intelligent too. I think he was quite disgusted at our replies to his questions. I would like to hear you try a case in court, John. From your and Ruth's letters, you must have spent long hours on this last case, so we are especially glad you won it. Carol's plans are getting into focus now. The announcement should be in the paper next week. Wedding announcement. Carol and Dave have rented a little apartment on the west side and plan to get it all furnished and arranged before the wedding. She is all enthused. Saturday afternoon and all of Sunday she worked at inventory out at New Departure. Doran and I went to church yesterday and, hold on to your hats, Doran played golf in the afternoon. Then we went to the Robe. This week I am going to make new dining room curtains and get the chairs recovered. I guess it is good to have a deadline once in a while. Things do get done that way. Helen seems to be getting along fine. Have seen her at Bible class. In fact, we go together. Hope, Ruth, your nausea is passing. We are surely looking forward to June and another grandchild. Talking about Pamela Ray, the second child of my parents. I'm going to fix up Carol's room, especially for little boys and girls again. Enjoyed both your letters. Love, Mother. The next letter is from Mary Freilich, my father's mother's sister. 387 Blaine Avenue, Marion, Ohio. Monday, January 25th, 1954. Dear Gertrude, this is a strange winter. It is rainy here this morning. I thought you might be interested in the clipping from last week's Marion Star, which I am enclosing. We are so glad Harold was not sent away from Marion as we were afraid they might be after he completed the manager's training course. Mama and Dad have been staying right at home for the most part. I wish they could get out a little more. No doubt you know Nell's Uncle Marshall is going to give Nell his home with all its furnishings. John and Nell will move over there sometime soon. I'm so glad for John and Nell. I can imagine what a flurry of excitement you folks will have preparing for a wedding. I hope we can all come to Carol's wedding. There is considerable flu in Marion. Georgianne said it was an epidemic in Athens, Ohio. I hope all of you are well. Love, Mary Freilich. The next letter is from Gertrude Zuck, my father's mother. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio. March 26, 1954. Dear John, Ruth, and Mark, more snapshots from Mark's album. It's getting to be quite a book, and we think these latest ones are especially important. Mark walking in his first wedding. The one of Mark and Carol is a real keepsake. We enjoyed your letter too. Nice to get such compliments. We thought the Bay Village rays turned out especially nice and appropriate for the occasion. I tried my best to get John's talk on the radio this morning, but no luck. Carol and Dave had told us to listen. A package came from your mother and father today. A lovely imported Scottish lace tablecloth. The only lace cloth Carol and Dave received. Dave was here just after it came and he opened it. He really is most appreciative. These wedding gifts are going to be on display in a cabinet they plan to buy. Speaking of a silver tray they received, he said, "Well, after all, it isn't everybody that has a tray like that." I think they both are a little swamped trying to figure where and what to do with everything. We packed away in tissue 4 beautiful blankets and 3 bedspreads and a satin comforter yesterday. Carol had taken 1 blanket to the apartment. The dining room is still pretty full, but can wait until they get a little more adjusted. Carol had her potatoes peeled at 3:30 this afternoon for dinner tonight. She really seems so young. The candid camera shots Dale took came yesterday. A lovely one of Carol alone, a good one of the bridal party, 2 of Carol and Dave cutting the cake, and a fine one of the entire altar, complete bridal party with Carol and Dave kneeling and the minister's hands on their heads, and the stained glass windows above very distinct. Thanks for taking the girls to Mather House. They probably wouldn't have made it otherwise. I had a nice note from Jane. We plan to go to Marion, Ohio, when Helen gets her slides back. She will have colored pictures, which will be a wonderful remembrance of the wedding, too. I cleaned up the yard before the heavy rains. Lots of bulbs are up, and some should start blooming in a few days. The roses are sprouting, too. Affectionately yours, Mother. And another letter from Gertrude Zuck. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, September 13th, 1954. Dear John, Ruth, Mark, and Pamela, home before 10, and such an afternoon and evening to remember. Sometime when we are together, I'd like the graham cracker cake recipe. 'Twas really delicious. Mark gets cuter all the time and is surely well behaved, and it looks like Pamela is going to follow suit. It's surely rewarding to have such lovely, well cared for grandchildren. I have the gladiola on the table here by the Davenport in a black vase. They should last most of the week, and we can enjoy them at close range. We'll be seeing you on the 26th. Love, Mother. And another letter from Gertrude Zuck Ray. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, Thursday, September 23rd, 1954. Dear folks, the art portfolio came yesterday. I love it and know it will be a pleasure to look at many, many times. Also, the cute card came. I think I'm going to start a box of these cards, for they are just too good not to keep. Thanks ever so much. We are looking forward to Sunday. We'll be at the church at 11 your time. Doran is getting the camera all set, so we should get some memorable pictures. Ted was married today. It's been such a beautiful day. I hope it means happiness for him and Evelyn. Fred was operated on last Saturday afternoon for obstruction of the bowel caused by adhesions from his appendix operation. He has had a very stormy time, but is better now. Dr. Barry from Cleveland did the surgery. We enjoyed John's letter and congratulations on the trustee election. You'll have to tell us more about it Sunday. Oh yes, get up your appetite for Sunday dinner. Love, Mother. Another letter from Gertrude Ray. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, Wednesday, September 29th, 1954. Dear folks, Doran had this one roll finished. Some weren't any good, so I'm sending them on. We will have some printed for us. The other rolls still had about 5 pictures to be taken, so we'll complete it when you come. We've had prints made of this negative of Carol, Ruth, and Mark, so I am returning it. We did enjoy Pamela's christening cake, even if the picture of it wasn't any good. That particular one of John, Ruth, and Pamela was one of the not-so-good ones. We think some of these of Mark are especially good. Carol and Dave have a television in today. Not the one they will have permanently, but they can enjoy the World Series with this one. Editor's note, the New York Giants swept the Cleveland Indians in 4 games in the 1954 World Series. They brought Fred home from the hospital yesterday. He is doing fine. Love, Mother. Now here's a letter from California from aunts from Nell and Chella Ray, who are my father's sisters. California, December 1st, 1954. Dear relatives in Ohio. This is a letter to Gertrude and Doran Ray. Received Gertrude's and Ruth's good letters, and we appreciated hearing from you all. Many thanks, Ruth, for those darling pictures. Mark is growing so fast, and he's a fine-looking youngster, but why shouldn't he be with his good-looking parents? You are welcome. Pamela looks sweet. Glad she can use the sweater. Did you notice the French knots that serve the buttons? 3 weeks ago, we had cleaned the apartment and were putting up drapes in the dining room. We had moved out the heavy Davenport, put it back in, and Nell was standing on a kitchen chair when the back of the Davenport fell back, knocking her off the chair onto the floor. Fortunately, she landed on her cushion, and as she was falling, she prayed that she wouldn't have any broken bones. The prayer was answered, but she was stiff and sore for 2.5 weeks. Yesterday we went downtown. Do not mention this or any illnesses, for Nell doesn't want people to know about our aches and pains. I had intestinal flu for 4 days but have recovered. So aside from all of this, we're doing as usual. Wasn't able to go to nursery on Sunday, but Anne, who has been a helper for over 4 years, took over. First time I have missed for over 8 or 10 years. Wish you could have seen the 14th parade of Western bands, 67 in all. We didn't go, too chilly, too hazy, too long, etc. for it was over 3 hours long, 14 blocks, although we love a parade. So sorry to hear of Doran's heart murmurs. We didn't know about it. Do hope the report was okay. It must have been a sad time for the families of your niece and your brother-in-law. Some things we cannot understand, but someday perhaps it will be explained. We are sending through Knott's Berry Farm a Christmas gift for all. You may distribute it to John's and Carol's, and Richard will have to have his share at home. You will have a wonderful Christmas being all together and having 2 dear babies to help in the fun. May 1955 bring to one and all the blessings of health, comfort, and joy is our prayer. Much love, Aunts Nell and Chella. The next letter is from Gertrude Zuck Ray. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio. Tuesday, December 7th, 1954. Dear folks, this letter and clipping came yesterday, so I'm sending it on. She had included a number of clippings, but perhaps this one might interest Mark. Doran worked on the church budget drive Sunday afternoon. Then we drove out past Dick and Perry's new house. Don't suppose they will get into it before the new year from its present appearance. This Thursday is the Christmas program for our Women's Fellowship at church. I bought an album of Christmas music by the Vienna Boys Choir, which I'm going to use with colored films on Palestine and scenes from the life of Christ. The weather doesn't seem like time for a Christmas program. Cold but no snow. The plumber just left. We had faucet trouble. Doran had to buy a new car battery and muffler for the car. The maintenance department has really been busy around here. We are surely looking forward to December 24th. Love, Mother. And another letter from Gertrude Ray. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio, December 29th, 1954. Dear John, Ruth, Mark, and Pamela, we are still enjoying your Christmas visit. Hope the snapshots capture some of the fun of it. That one of Pamela after her bath should be cute. It was really remarkable to have 2 babies in the house with so little fuss, just pleasure. They made Christmas the happy time. Ruth's letter came this morning, and I too got off to a good start Monday, hung the washing outside, and now the ironing is done, all ready for the next visit. We had a note from Helen this morning, and she plans to be here the week of January 9th to the 16th. Lenora may bring her up, and I hope we can get together sometime during her stay. I talked to Lenora and Dale tonight, and they are getting a camera, light meter, and flash attachment for us. Dale said he would fix it up with film and flash bulbs, all ready to go. Helen can teach Doran the fundamentals when she is here. We can all share in the enjoyment of this gift, and thanks a lot for your share in it. Your fruitcake tasted elegant Monday, Ruth, and your cookies. So nice to bring them with everything else you had to do. Doran has already gone to bed, so love and Happy New Year, Mother. And here's a letter from Frank and Lena Zuck, my dad's mom's parents. 373 Windsor Street, Marion, Ohio, Thursday, December 30th, 1954. Dear Ruth, John, and children, we received the lovely book for Christmas, and we surely appreciate it. We know we will get lots of benefit from it, and it is so easy to read. We are so glad you had such a good time Christmas Eve, but it did not seem just right not to have the celebration at our house. We really missed it. We had many wonderful gifts, and much to be thankful for. We had a fine Christmas dinner, and a very pleasant day at Harold's. We would love to hear Mark recite his poem. We do appreciate the fine picture of Mark and Pamela. That will go in our scrapbook. We are both feeling pretty well. We send our best wishes for a happy New Year. Love to all. Grandpa and Grandma Zuck. And the next letter is from Gertrude Ray. 1407 Marlborough Street, Sandusky, Ohio. Thursday, January 27th, 1955. Dear folks, finally we have some reprints. You will have to fill in the dates on a few I'm not sure about. We took this roll at so many different times. We think the pictures you sent are the best ones yet of Pamela. The one with the Christmas tree and the Christmas window and the babies would make the perfect Christmas card. Thanks ever so much. The grandchildren album is filling up. We have sent in the first roll of slide negatives. It should be about next week, and we are anxious to see Doran's initial efforts at slide making. Oh yes, that quarter came the other day on the frozen fish ad. Suppose you'd almost forgotten it. Do you still have the negative of Carol and Dave leaving for their honeymoon? Helen would love one of the enlargements of it, and I would like to have it again. We borrowed it once before, but I think I sent it back. It's one of the best pictures taken at the wedding. Harold's business must be taking a turn for the better again. Mary was a bit discouraged about it at the time we talked to her. Did Marge tell you Mary is home from the hospital, and Barbara is taking over the housework and cooking, doing a fine job too? We have been seeing some television at Carol and Dave's, but as yet I don't crave one. Still enjoy just listening to radio programs. Dave painted the baby's room, 3 coats. It's yellow with a blue border of nursery figures. Mrs. Shively gave them a rocking chair and Dave's single bed, and they bought an unfinished chest of drawers, which Dave is doing. 4 months to go till Lisa, that would be till Lisa's Wiesenhauer's birth, and most of it comfortable weather. Tonight isn't so comfortable, though, our first real cold. I'm off to the dentist at 9 o'clock tomorrow, so to bed. Love, Mother. Now here's a newspaper article from the Marion, Ohio Star, 1954. The headline is Community Chess Board names Freilich president. Election of officers for 1954 was the major item of business at a meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Marion Community Foundation Monday night. Chosen to head the foundation was Harold Freilich of 250 Merchant Avenue. Freilich, the new president, is manager of the Marion Agency of the Commonwealth Life Insurance Company here, and is a member of the board of the directors of the Marion Association of Life Underwriters. He represents the 6th Ward on Marion City Council and also is a member and on the board of directors of the Kiwanis Club. Other civic interests include the presidency of the George Washington PTA. He and his wife are parents of 3 children. Now we have 3 comments on this presentation. The first is from John S. Ray. Quote, enjoyed ZFMC 57. Yes, I was a happy kid growing up in Marion, Ohio. I did not know that great-grandfather Ray and great-grandmother Ray were buried in crypts in Long Beach, California. Grandma and Grandpa Zuck did not have the Christmas party in 1954 and missed it very much. This was a very major event when I was growing up in Marion. My dad played golf on January 24th, 1954. Wonderful. I did not know that Uncle John's wife Nell had an uncle named Marshall and that he had given his home and furnishings to Nell. No wonder Jim Zuck was named Marshall. Wonder what I was talking about on the radio in March 1954. Carol was really anxious to get married. Had her potatoes peeled at 3:30 p.m. for dinner. Exciting. Ted and Evelyn were married September 23, 1954. In their letter of December 1, 1954, Nell and Chella mentioned that my father had a heart murmur. I was not aware of that. Fine picture of Harold Freilich when he was elected president of the community chest in Marion. He was certainly an active fellow. I did not recall his being on Marion City Council. What a wonderful picture of Grandma and Grandpa Zuck on the front cover. Keep up the good work. Love, Dad. John S. Ray, Cleveland, Ohio. And the next letter is from Mary Ryan, my cousin. She would be the daughter of Jim and Katie Zuck, and Jim was the son of John Zuck. John Zuck was the brother of Gertrude Zuck Ray, my dad's mom. Dear Peter, thank you so much for the Zuck family newsletters that you put together. I absolutely love the Let's Move Back to Marion letter. All that you said is so true, and in a perfect world, it would be possible for us. Greg and I long to find a nice little town in which to raise our family. If only we could find a way to run our business out of Marion, we would do it. Could I take the heat and humidity of the summer there after living in Colorado for 14 years? We hope you have a happy holiday season, and also hope to see you and your family sometime soon. Thanks again for the work you do on our family history. Please know how appreciated you are. Mary Zuck Ryan, Lakewood, California. The next is from Greg Lacey, my cousin, Greg's the son of John of Steve and Connie Lacey. Steve's the son of was the son of Helen Zuck Lacey, the sister of Gertrude Zuck Lacey, my dad's mother. Hi, Peter. I wanted to thank you for the latest ZFMC, the issue with the letters between your grandparents and your dad and mom, and other letters from the great-grandparents and others. It was really fun to read. I really enjoyed reading them. It was a great find to put those out in a ZFMC. Any more letters to come in the future? Greg Lacey, Hyde Park, New York. The next letter is from George Ann Zuck Cummings. George Ann was the daughter of John and Nell Zuck, and John was the brother of Gertrude Zuck Ray, my dad's mom. Hi, Peter. Thank you for your efforts with the ZFMC. I so loved your article on moving back to Windsor Street, Marion, Ohio, and leading the simple life. Makes sense to me. Better give you our address now. We moved November 29th. Still getting settled here and glad the holidays are behind us. Every night I redecorate 373 Windsor Street. Much love to the three of you. George Ann Zuck Cummings, Bel Air, Florida. So that concludes tonight's presentation. Good luck to you if it interests you in family history work, finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, and photographs, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.